Welcome back, race fans, to Deviant Racing. This is the second tier of GT Racing, the GTD series in the GT4 race cars. My name is Webbo, here to enjoy the racing with you today. And this is how things look last season out. Camzilla just pipping Dirksey in the end, thanks to countbacks and drop scores, ahead of Jim in third place. Jim, though, unsuccessful in his bid to get himself promoted and will stay in GTD. K Morris, Thrasher and Binkit. Thrasher has been promoted. Binkit, and as well as K Morris, in fact, and Binkit is staying put. I think Mercury's still also in this particular league, but that's how things looked coming out of season 4.3 and straight into season 5.1, with just maybe a sort of 6 or 7 week break. That wasn't a deliberate 6-7. Please don't get excited in the chat about that one. Hi to AJ, has recently changed his handle to Lex Ali Warlock. But hi to AJ. I trust you're the same AJ that has been a faithful viewer for many a good time. It's great to have you back. It's great to be back here in the wonderful Deviant Racing League on a Sunday race day as well. The qualifying session is just about to get underway for our race here. 10 minutes of racing awaits us. New drivers, one of whom is this driver we're riding on board with right now, Shiesty. I'll have to wait to get confirmation on exactly how to pronounce that. And we have all new race teams as well to get to grips with. We've got Team Big Oil, who are rocking the Scirocco, the VW Scirocco that was so successful last season. Arcane and Kuros Kai in Team Big Oil. And we have out of the pit lane at the moment, we've got also Shiesty, who has joined us and will be in the Legend Motor Racing team with Jim, celebrating legendary colour schemes, and they don't get much more legendary than the orange and blue. And as you can probably tell, I'm a big fan of that particular colour scheme. Jim is out there ready to get underway. Lots of drivers just getting some room there and navigating the racetrack for the best view on the track. Astonishing is in the Carambar Peugeot RCZ Group 4, GT4 car. Astonishing in for Team Sugar Rush Racing in the RCZ. Out there with dad and son. I think this is son, who is in Team Jetstream with the Pan Am stickers today for the celebrating all things aviation here in the Aston Martin GT4. Kind of confusing because the Aston Martin was a different team in GT3. We've got Arcane out there. Binkit is in the Team Sugar Rush Racing as well, and then we've got Siam racing for Team Liquid Death, who are a mineral water drink, I believe, which is quite an inappropriate name, I think, for mineral water or mountain water as they market it. K2 Mars or K2, I'm not sure whether to call him K2 or Mars, but this is Team Perfect Pace, and they are rocking the red, white and blue, presumably because it's Daytona. I don't know for sure, but it's the Chevrolet Corvette C7 Group 4 car that he will be in. Our Brazilian racer, K2, and Mercury, also for Team Jetstream. There is the second of the Chevrolets on the track at the moment. That's Sully, as Kuros Kai in the VW Scirocco for Team Big Oil. Now, this is slightly confusing because his Big Oil company is Gulf that he's repping. But we also have a Team Legends Racing in the same colours without the Gulf sticker on for the Legend Motor Racing team. Slug is repping for his Enzo Motorsport Ferrari team. They're in the 458 Italia Group 4. Chaotica will be our safety car driver today and is doing our run. And I can see AJ has changed his name as well back to AJBs. As Vic is watching, Buonasera says Folgore GT. Watching No Vic's Pizza Vix Pizza sponsorship this season I can see on any cars that I've seen so far. This is astonishing. Just keeping his eye on what's happening on his first hot lap at the front of the circuit, heading in towards the bus stop, looking for his braking zone. There's slightly longer braking zones in the GT4s than in the GT3s, but also, of course, slightly less in the way of fuel usage, tyre wear, a little bit less tyre wear, and of course less top speed as well. So the lap times will be greater, the fuel effect less. So that's going to be an interesting one for the strategy. It was a clear and obvious two-stop for the GT3 races earlier on. I'm giving no spoilers because I know a lot of people watch this one and then go back and watch the race they took part in, or their favourite drivers took part in. Astonishing, a 1:59.0 as Dudson takes the provisional pole by half a second at this stage. Excuse me. Arcane in P3. I have just drunk a flat drink in between sessions. I don't know why I've suddenly it's appearing that I'm full of Sprite. It's Arcane Binkit in between Shiesty, who's debuting with us today, so I wouldn't have high expectations of his ultimate pace. Here comes Jim in the blue and orange as we go to cross the line there. Oh dear me, thanks then, appreciate that. Let's get you some actual race cars running. Here you go. My apologies. That's about a scene transition that didn't work. It's Jim then in sixth. K2 though, our debutant here in the Brazilian colour scheme, as this is the Chevrolet taking that up to pole position by 1/3 of a second immediately. K2 ahead of Dad and Son for this start. A 58.2 for K2 as he debuts with us here, and I wonder if he's not in the correct league, but we shall see later on. Of course, qualifying pace is one thing, race pace over the course of an hour. Getting used to the safety car procedure as well, something very different, a unique feature to Deviant Racing. So something that many new drivers struggle to come to terms with initially with the strategy, but hopefully their team have decided to give them as much assistance as possible. K2, the Brazilian, ahead of our Dutchman, Dad and Son, out there, and astonishing in third position in the Peugeot RCZ. Can he get a better run? He's actually coming in towards the pit lane right now. The Pennzoil VW Scirocco here for Arcane, representing Team Big Oil. As Dad and Son sets a new personal best, but not the best. The gap, though, down to 0.04 of a second. Arcane across the line. That's a fourth place at the moment. And Siam coming up in the Nissan Silvia. We do not see this very often, so it's great to have a new car on the grid. Here comes as Shiesty has gone first on a 57.8. Shiesty on his debut here was just lulling me into a false sense of security. He's gone straight into the 57s. What a debut for both Shiesty and for K2 out there, as Jim is just in front of Siam on track, and they'll be looking a little bit red-faced as the debutants and the new drivers and the 10-year-old, or 11-year-old now, Dad and Son Rex there in P3, putting them all to shame at this point. But what a lap from Shiesty in the Porsche. So great to see him. I'm having to flip different screens, unfortunately, which is why I missed that I left the wrong screen on. I do apologise greatly to everybody. I say Porsche, but this is Shiesty running, the Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport. This is. And he has a car in front of him. I think that's too far away to pick up a tow at this stage, but you never know coming through the bus stop if he picks up a... Wow, look at this. He's even faster. It's a purple second sector for Shiesty. Gets himself up to sixth gear for a few moments. That is a very late braking zone. Wow. He's super late, just after the number one, or the 100-meter possibly marker there on the way in. And he's actually opened out. That was a great run through. And the beauty of setting a fast lap is that you can go absolutely balls out on your next lap. And Shiesty is able to push like crazy here. Dad and Son's just gone second. just over 1/10 of a second away from this time. Let's see what Shiesty can do. It's even lower. It's a 57.643 from Shiesty. Great run from him. What can K2 do in the Chevy? I think he'll be slightly too far away from that Porsche up ahead. I think that's Jim possibly on the track as we run up into 6th gear. A very low revving 6th gear, down at 5,500 revs as we cross the line for K2. It's no quicker, it's just 1/4 of a second away from the absolute best. Roy Senior killing it, says Vic. It is Senior, is it? Roy there in Dad and Son. So Dad is the one in the car this time. I was commentating over Son yesterday at Black Flag. Yeah, Vic just correcting me there very gently. Thank you for that, Vic. Appreciate it. Shiesty, fastest driver at this stage. Let's see what his Sector 2 looks like on this lap. How can he keep going faster on these tyres? But he's 0.04 of a second away from the ultimate best here that he owns and has owned twice previously in this qualifying session. No new tyres for him. He's just going to keep running to keep the fuel burning off and keep maximising his chances. Actually, it's opening out now. He'll need a hell of a run through the bus stop, but we know he's more than equal to it. Look at this late braking and just dancing the steering through the bus stop. Here we go. Early on the throttle, late on the upshift to 4th possibly. But what do I know? Let's see. Yeah, he did lose a little bit of time going through the bus stop, so it didn't quite work that time out. We'll see though, because K2 has a personal best. He's looking for 0.6 of a second. He's grabbed about 3 of those so far into Sector 3. 4th gear we're going for. We're going to dip down into 3rd for the extra slingshot out. No, it's sticking with the momentum in that 4th gear in the Chevy. He's got a hell of a good slipstream. Dad and Son has taken pole at 157.545. That is Roy in the lead of our standings so far here. These are the final few laps because we've gone into overtime already. It's Dad and Son ahead of Shiesty. Here comes K2 though, with a great slipstream, you would hope, as he runs through in the Chevy. Any changes to the top? No, he does get a better time, but it's still some 2.5 tenths away from the front row. It's Dad and Son Roy ahead of Shiesty in P2. K2 will take hold of P3 at this point with Astonishing in 4th. Is anybody else pushing hard at this stage? It looks like everybody is taking their time. This is Sully heading down. I don't think he'll get to set a lap. No, time is very much away from us at this stage. But how about that for Roy Mustang Senior in the Pan Am sponsored Aston Martin GT4, taking pole position after not really competing for it with Shiesty and K2. What an exciting first turn we're going to have with these 4 drivers, and with Binkett there in 5th as well. This is very much a place for the relative newcomers to the league, having the top 5 positions here in GT4 in the GTD series, the second tier of GT World Challenge here at Deviant Racing. As I mentioned in the previous stream, if you do fancy getting racing with us, obviously the permanent seats have closed for the GT World Challenge for the next 14 weeks, but there are plenty of other opportunities to get racing socially and competitively here at Deviant Racing. Just follow the link into the Discord and become part of the Deviant Racing crew. Typically do tend to race at the weekends competitively, but also run very nicely during the week as well, especially on a Friday night in the US. One moment, please. Hope you didn't get too much of that. This is your qualifying positions then. Dad and Son in P1, Roy Mustang Senior there with Shiesty, or Shiesty. I hope he's not a lawyer, Shiesty. In P2, K2 in 3rd, and Astonishing in 4th. Binkett takes 5th, and Arcane filling out the 3rd row. 4th row is Siam and Jim, with Sully and Mercury, Slug, Kuros, Kai. Chaotica is poised and ready to drive our safety car. Team Big Oil will be Gulf sponsored with the actual words Gulf on them, and it will be Pennzoil with the bright yellow today, not the dark yellow of Astonishing and Binkett's Carabar. And then the the Gulf colours on the Porsches on actually Team Legend Motor Racing. So not the best of coordination between Team Legend and Big Oil, but it was a very late decision, I think, in the day for that. It was the same safety car this time round for the GT4s, which will mean even later into the race as it was in the GTD Pros. So lap 18, nice and easy for me to remember. But a tricky one for the strategy to get all the way. I think we'll have to make pit stops beforehand. So we'll see what the drivers decide to do. Will it be medium, soft, hard? Will it be hard, medium, medium? Or any other combination similar to that? It's definitely going to open things out a little bit. I think most drivers will opt to try the mediums in the last stint. But place your bets now as to how you think this race is going to go down. Who's going to get the win? What about these newcomers to the league and their great qualifying positions? Can they translate that single lap pace into race pace, tyre management, fuel management, all of these things that feed in to racing here at Deviant GT World Challenge? The drivers will be ready to get underway momentarily, and I'd love to hear from you as to what your predictions will be. Can we make it through turn 1, lap 1 safely, I wonder? And who are your picks for the Arrow? What's your pick on the strategy as well? Will it be will the soft tires get used? Those of you without spoilers who took part in the GTD Pro and are watching now, do put in your strategy, your predicted strategy here in the GT4s. What will change? Which tire will be the most dominant for today's racing? And we're here at the home of the 24-hour race at Daytona, just 1 week before it happens on track, and I'm sure we'll all be watching in the background at least what is going down at the 24 next weekend. I think the Raw before the 24 has just happened or happening as we go, as Saito cheering on Siam. Saito stopping by in the stream. Saito, I really hope you're not racing VR and have me rattling on in your ear while you race. That would be hardcore. But Saito's there and supporting Siam in the Nissan Silvia touring car. That's going to be a great race car. It's going to sound good as well. Proper retro touring car shape as well. So a big mix of all new race cars and some old classics and a tiny little front wheel drive VW Scirocco and an OP wonderful Peugeot RCZ. Of course, Saito, my apologies, you're injured not racing. I won't inquire as to how you got your injury, but hopefully you'll be back with us very soon. Team Liquid Death in the Nissan there. They haven't been able to field a reserve driver, I think, at this early stage of the season. We haven't got all our reserves lined up, so Siam racing solo today for his team, Liquid Death. The race is about to get underway then. We know that Saito's here for Siam, and Larry is very happy to see Roy doing well in the qualifying, and we'll get on to our race then. Any moment here. Let's give you all the information on the screen as we've got Roy in the Aston just ahead of the Porsche of Shiesty, with K2 the newcomer behind them on the second row and astonishing in 4th place. The lights are on, and it's dropped the clutch, and go, really slow. Poor start from the Aston Martin of Roy down the inside as the Porsche gets away well, and so does this Chevrolet, rocking around the outside. The Nissan Silvia as well, moving forward. Siam in the Liquid Death light grey colour scheme as they head down into turn 1. How is this going to go down as they run through here? This is very, very tricky turn 1, but thankfully it looks like everybody's surviving that run as Shiesty and K2 will run side by side, but it was Roy with the big loss at the start of the race. He's going to try and go round the outside here of Shiesty in the snappy Chevrolet. But Roy having to settle in. The heat haze already on our cars here as Shiesty leading K2, leading Dad and Son, and Siam with Sully, Binkit, Astonishing, and Mercury. Binkit and Astonishing with poorer starts there in the Peugeot RCZ, and losing positions as Mercury has a little tentative look down the inside of Astonishing, who's very generous there and kind as they run through. But it's a little bit more boisterous round this run through the in and out, and it's a lot of contact going on between Arcane, Slug, Kuros, Kai. They should know better. K2 has had a big problem though. K2 has spun out on this start of the lap and down to 12th position. Chaotic, the safety car, almost catching him. Shiesty then in the Porsche Cayman GT4 in the number 49 leads our race away, and we'll perhaps have a quick check-in on the start replay as we run through here. Let's get ourselves a decent view of it onboard the Scirocco here as we look down in towards that turn one. Be very wary of the invisible barrier on the inside on the approach to turn one, but so far so good. Very clean at this stage of the race, but unfortunately it didn't end that way for K2 at the during the middle part of the first lap here. This is Arcane fighting for Slug's Enzo Motorsports car position in P9 at this stage. Behind him is his teammate in the team Big Oil as they run round the outside of turn one. This is going to be fascinating. Ferrari versus VW is not a car combination you see often in World Motorsport. This is the lead of the race though. Shiesty ahead of Roy, also known as Dad and Son here, and it is the dad of the Dad and Son team apparently. Then we've got Cam saying Arcane about to go to 10th place after turn one. See him up to third though in the Nissan Silvia on the hard tyres, no less. Great start on those hard tyres, but most drivers I think have opted for the hards. Let's just double check everybody. Looks like the hard tyres are the way to go, but K2 started on the softs, and unfortunately for a soft tyre stint, that is absolutely awful for K2, as Kuros Kai has dropped down all the way to 12th now in last position. Shiesty on the hard tyres as well, so really the only person who went for a different tyre didn't go for one of the other mandatory tyres. He went for their, as Vic says, the Scirocco doesn't belong in the grass. As Cam says, there is only one master of the Scirocco. I think he might be referring to himself. But anyway, Shiesty leading the way on the way through the bus stop, ahead of Dad and Son by at least a second, as Sully then in the much longer Chevy. It's crazy that you have a C7 versus a Scirocco in terms of outright car length. This is absolutely insane. See him in 4th, Binkit in 5th, and Mercury not far behind in 6th place. We've got Astonishing just behind him in the Carambar Team Sugar Rush. Binkit on the outside run here. See him protecting the inside, as he often does here. But that Nissan Silvia touring car looking very nice indeed. Personal best lap from Binkit. Everybody on those hard tyres, with the exception, as I said before, of K2, who's really, I don't know, I've seen drivers debut in seasons and not read the required tyre type conditions or the rules properly. We shall see as the American Airlines aircraft taking off from the local airport. Kuros Kai down there in 12th place. You can see K2 has made his way back to P9 thanks to those soft tyres, I'm sure, helping no end. As Team Big Oil's Gulf-sponsored Kuros Kai down in 12th place. That won't be a very happy Kuros Kai at this stage. Shiesty leading by 1.1 seconds, and K2 on the soft tyres has managed to put the fastest lap in so far. The Perfect Pace Racing are represented by Sully and K2, but Sully, the one managing to get through and survive the early laps here. Great close racing though, as the drivers are fully planted on the throttle on the run on the oval section of the racetrack. That Peugeot RCZ trying to get a slipstream from the much more aerodynamic Nissan Silvia, despite it being an older shape and a wide body. The RCZ is a curvy girl. Down into the bus stop, they go side by side. that could turn very nasty. And in fact, it's helped Mercury to come through. Mercury probably going for the bump draft here. Try and push Binkit into a move against Siam and then pick up the pieces as they continue running. Sully third, says Saito. Absolutely, there he is, just in the foreground for a moment as we watch this melee in the midfield. Siam protecting the inside, but he has lost out. I think he took a penalty there, Siam, for his line through the bus stop. And there's a lot of yellow and brown following Mercury. Mercury getting down into turn one though. Very nicely on the front axle there on the Aston Martins. Great bit of pitch and roll going on the vehicle dynamics as Shiesty leads Daddenson and Sully. Mercury an astonishing Binkit, Jim and K2 up to P8. Well, for a moment looks like Siam has held on here, but he'll be wondering where K2's pace is coming from, not knowing necessarily that he's on the soft tyres. Although if he is driving, I think if he's driving flat screen, you can tell the tyre compound now from a driving perspective. It's not on my tower, but I think it is on their tower. So he'll know a little bit what's going on, and he knows not to take too much of his own time and race pace away. As astonishing, getting a little bit stuck on the pace of Mercury in front. Looks like Zenith has just joined the room, a friend of mine, so I think he's looking for a race, thinking that maybe I had a lobby open. Apologies, Zenith. I'll have to find another lobby for you. Shiesty ahead of Daddenson, and on screen Sully. There is Shiesty, and there is Daddenson, and following through behind we've got Sully and Merc, followed by Binkit and Jim. Arcane and Slug back to Kuros Kai, and then you've got Chaotica right at the back there. That is Kuros Kai in the Big Oil Gulf sponsored car. We've got a lot of blue and orange on the track, and I'm absolutely here for it. Shiesty 2 seconds in the lead right now, but there is plenty of action happening at the back of that podium challenge. This look at the detail under the grille of the Aston Martin here as he follows the Chevrolet of Sully, and that is Mercury trying to go the long way around the outside. Sully committing to the inside, almost over committing to his braking zone, and these two will be loving this battle between the two of them, as we perhaps should join one of them here. This is on board with Mercury, looking for an opportunity, trying to keep our eye on the mirrors, and this could well be our opportunity to get by, as it looks like Sully a little bit slow off the corner. He's got to go through the dogleg. They'll be side by side. Sully might get the nod ahead in the dogleg, but they'll go side by side into the braking zone of the West Horseshoe, and it's Mercury who grabs the apex, grabs P3 at this early stage of the race, and Sully hung out to dry on the outside in the Herbie numbered 53. Sully in P4, and behind him you've got Astonishing in that P5. Binkit right there in the Carabat colour scheme as well. And K2 up to 7th place, but on the soft tyres, making those soft tyres last well at this stage. Does he know he needs to use the hard and the medium tyres as well? We shall see, because everybody else starting on the hard tyres, trying to get as deep into this race as humanly possible. May even be thinking about a one-stop. Vic says, Sully is third. Restart the game. We must have a glitch. That is cruel, Vic. Oh, and that's a big problem then. That's a big problem for K2 again, I think. Let's have a look what happens here, because he comes into the bus stop miles behind the two Carambar Peugeot RCZs. Oh, I think it's the car in front, actually. My apologies. That is... who was that making the error? It was Sully all over the place, and just as Vic lays into Sully for being where he was on the track, he's down in 10th place. Sully will watch this back, Vic, and he will not be happy with you at all, questioning the validity of where he is on the racetrack. K2 back to 4th now. Incredible. Kind of, what was that, first to last to back to 4th position here. It's got a very small mandatory number on the side of his car, or I should say mandatory number on his car there, the 32. Quite hard to read, and Astonishing right behind him. Let me see, where is Vic at the moment? Vic just Vic in Team Jetstream should be focusing on supporting Roy and Mercury, who are currently second and third, but laying into Sully for no apparent reason. You've got Binkett and Astonishing running well in the RCZs, the Peugeots, unlikely but quick racing cars, and Siam still there in the hunt for the podium in 7th position, but he can see all the podium runners in front of him. Drivers just protecting the tyres and the fuel at this stage, I think, as Jim in the tastefully designed Big Oil Gulf colour scheme's got Valvoline and Gulf on the car there. Now, I will check during the safety car period, but did Arcane decide to use the Webbo Pennzoil inspired sticker or not, I wonder, for his Pennzoil car? It was quite deliberately designed just for this very occasion. Slug in 11th, Kuros Kai at the back at the moment in 12th, some 22.3 seconds away from the outright lead of the race as they come towards us here at the bus stop. But Shiesty leading the race, coming out of the final turn and heading towards the start-finish line, 3.1 seconds ahead of Dad and Son. Same tyres, roughly similar fuel loads, certainly started on 100% fuel, obviously. That's mandatory, that you can't mess around with your starting fuel. Everybody has to start in the same amount to nullify the impact of messing about with your weight of the car. Now that was a dodgy braking opportunity there for K2. Oh, that's terrible then for Merc, and Merc will not be loving that moment. Here we go. This is K2. He's got the better tyres, and what is happening here? I don't know if Mercury made a move under braking, but that could be a bit of netcode as well. But there goes Mercury straight into the barrier. What does K2 do about it? Does he decide to get back running and let them by? But let me know what you think about that particular incident, because I don't think Merc would be too pleased being projected back down to 7th place, and he would have picked up some damage, but that looks to have cleared now at this point. Of course, the safety car will still come out later in the race, very late in the race, I imagine, and right in the nighttime period. We're going for a full 24-hour run through. Saito says this injustice will not stand. Yeah, I've got a feeling there might be some post-race investigations after that one. But looks like K2 has released Mercury, and by way of apology has allowed Mercury by. It's cold comfort, but it's something for Merc, who is now fighting with Jim, who typically starts his stints quite slowly, Jim, and brings the car in very gently to the best operating position. And if anyone is going to one-stop this race and finish with a good plan on the fuel, it is going to be Jim, who has it. No, Mikey, no, that was so not right, says Vic, but he spells it Mickey. So I know what you mean. Shiesty leading by 3.5 seconds now. Roy having picked up position from Mercury's incident with K2. The two Peugeot RCZs are running 3rd and 4th. And Jim, just the stopper here, and staying in the Porsche Cayman there ahead of Merc, whose Aston Martin is looking very much worse for wear on its front right corner. A real fender bender as he went into the tyre barrier, thanks to the contact from behind under braking, which is also showing on the car quite nicely. A kind of matte grey, matte silver colour scheme is going to show dents very, very well indeed. On the Pan Am Aston Martin there for Mercury. The clouds are gathering. We're heading in towards evening time now in Sim. Actually, my live chat stopped working a few minutes ago, so just let me know that the live chat is still operational, and I'll try and catch up with what's been said. Saito said, Vic hacked the game to screw my brother. Saito, is your brother Sully? Is that the... I didn't know that, so you'll have to let me know on that one. Shiesty, Daddenson, astonishing as Mercury and Jim go side by side here. Jim protecting the low side near the apron there, and K2 coming up behind the two of them, and Mercury is going to be watching that mirror very carefully. There does appear to be what I often see with Brazilian races, a bit of lag So I have to give K2 the benefit of the doubt here, because it does look like cars are moving around a little bit for him, but frankly needs to allow a margin for error for that netcode. But he's not doing so. He's trying to kind of ping pong Mercury, and you'll find yourself, if you mess around with the admins too much, you quickly find out. So we'll see what happens here, as this is live with 43 minutes and 50 seconds to go. K2 is going to be heading into turn 1 directly behind Mercury again. Excuse me. So let's see, the Peugeot's up front in the dark yellow Carambar livery. Jim almost forced to go for the move here, and then you can see evidence of the lag considerably there. Mercury possibly went wrong himself for a moment. Let's have a look on board with Mercury here. Something went wrong with one of the Peugeots up front. That was a misjudged braking zone, very late, tried to cut back, and then Mercury exit stage right. And that wasn't K2 that time. K2 was busy going straight through the Carambar Peugeot and cutting across the infield slightly on the run through. So K2 back into what is now 4th position. Don't forget, one of the fastest qualifiers here, K2. As Mercury, it's going from bad to worse right now as he goes out way onto the grass on the exit of the international horseshoe, the second of the 2 hairpin turns as we run through. So Mercury, something going very wrong there with the car. We are 9 laps in. The drivers will be trying to get through to lap 16 to pit just before the safety car, or lap 18 to pit just after. It looks like Mercury, unless he turns the engine down, isn't going to make lap 18 for the safety car lap. So if he manages to make it to 16, I think he'll be doing pretty well with the fuel load. You're looking for drivers hovering around the halfway fuel tank to get through to the safety car lap. That's Arcane, in no surprise, in the lightweight Scirocco, and that is Sully in P10, who's used probably more fuel than anybody else on the track. Slug is in P11. My screen is showing that Vic's comment, "No Mikey no," was the last comment there, as Comer Cope has joined to cheer on his Legend Motor Racing team, which is great to see as always. Slug in P11 and Kuros Kai down in P12 right now. Chaotica has a long wait. I'm sure he's watching the stream, so hi Chaotica. Shiesty leading by 3.1 seconds. Daddenson, Roy in P2, and their gap to K2 is 9.5 seconds. K2 has found his way through. This is an astonishing, forgive the pun, run from K2 on the soft tyres. He's got nearly 20 minutes on soft tyres, but surely he'll have to pit soon enough. He's also dented the front at the back of Mercury's Aston Martin, and that's a big repair bill for anybody. Jim in 5th place ahead of Binkit and Mercury. Mercury seems to have got a grip of the steering wheel once again, and is back very much on it and pushing hard. This is a good close battle right now for 5th, 6th and 7th positions. Just over 40 minutes to go. Remember, we've got 8 to go before our safety car will come out, and we'll do a full livery review, and you can give me your lowdown as to who's got the best of the liveries. This looks like a good run for Binkit. He's got that short squat Peugeot RCZ, but Jim, no prisoners on the way in from the outside to the inside through the bus stop. Jim, very confident with the handling of his Porsche through there, and Mercury actually gaining on Binkit on the run through the bus stop. Behind them, Siam in 8th is 19.4 seconds away from the lead, so, and Arcane's 21.2, Sully 26.8, Slug 28.9, and Kuros Kai in 12th, 36 seconds from the lead of the race. That will all be reduced to nearly nothing, though. There's something about the Sally from Cars about Shiesty's Porsche here, I think, with that blue, especially in the night colour light conditions. It's very Sally, as Daddenson is just caught Shiesty a little bit there. They're both protecting the tyres, protecting the fuel. As K2 scatters the grass along out of the turn there, out of the horseshoe, the west horseshoe, as it is, the first one, and some amazing video effects there from Gran Turismo here at Daytona. It's almost like I swear they've done some optimization since last season when I did a Daytona commentary, because this does look even better, I feel, than last season. So the light effects, the way the cameras are moving, and the focus of the cameras just looks absolutely awesome. Sadly, I'm not seeing the Webbo Pennzoil style sticker on the big oil Scirocco there, as Team Enzo Motorsports, the Ferrari 458 Italia, Kuros Kai in P12. How jealous are you, Vic, that you're not in Enzo Motorsports this season, I wonder, as the new Dunlop tyres for this season are serving the drivers very nicely. It's lap 11. Shiesty leads by just under 3 seconds here from Roy, or Dad and Son. K2 in no man's land right now, but still within 12 seconds of the lead of the race, and that is a very, very strong performance. I would imagine, though, those soft tyres, yeah, heading towards pit road now. This will put him to the back, and a committed two-stop strategy. I do think some drivers are going to try and do a one-stop here. They're trying to run these hard tyres deep into the second half of the race. We've still got 6 to go before our safety car comes out. So there's still a long way to go for those tyres. I do think the hards will be fine. It's the fuel for these GT4 cars, whether the fuel will get them to their desired lap, and then a set of mediums will go to the end of the race. We'll see, because K2 has been very quick on the soft tyres. Can he translate that? Will he use the hards for a short period here, not because of their tyre life, but because he can then free up the mediums? The slug is progressing nicely. He's got a Schumacher helmet on board the Enzo Motorsport car, as K2 is still getting that fuel put in the Chevy. You can see he's been in the wars. Certainly no pun intended there for our position. As Vic says, there he goes again. Jim P3 out of nowhere. It's just Jim doing Jim things. I talk about it all the time. But I'm going to make sure that you all know that it was Vic that cursed Jim that time with the penalty, not me. So it was Vic that praised Jim first, and then he got the penalty before I did. Binkit following behind, and you've got Mercury on the fight back here after a couple of very rough laps. Possibly getting a bit rattled in the car after being punted off there. I'm sure no malice was intentional, and certainly there's a little bit of net code on K2's car and some lag, but he's back in the pit lane. He's having his tyres fitted now. Is K2. Comment saying Legend Motor Racing is showing up at Daytona. How was it out there today in the Z4, comment, without spoiling the result? How are you feeling? Whoa, what is happening here with Binky? It's got a huge tank slapper on. How's he going to rescue this one? He's clearly had some contact on the way into this turn 1. Mercury's going to get down the inside. We'll do a replay, because that chocolate bar, candy bar wrapper is looking very bust up and crinkled at the back. It was very clean as he tries to go through Jim. Now that is, yeah, unfortunate, because what's happened is that Jim, as far as Binkit's POV is concerned, has ghosted, but only for half a second. And you can never just assume that you can go directly through another car when they're ghosted for just half a second. You've got to go round them. Jim wasn't hovering around the middle of the track. He was on the racing line. So I don't know whether our viewing audience live here would say Jim had the onus to move aside there. But of course, he's trying to stay as low as possible with his foot pinned to the bulkhead. But whose fault was that? Was it more Jim's or more Binkit's that Binkit ran in? And then, I mean, what a rescue job from Binkit, you have to say, with the snap going on the axle there. He really had to wrestle that one as Mercury's back to fourth, directly behind Jim. I think Jim is protecting the fuel here and the tyres at this stage. I don't think this is Jim's outright pace. I think that this is the other drivers just pushing him harder than he would like to go right now in order to make his strategy work. Jim is always playing chess and everyone else is playing checkers. Just think back to the Road Atlanta round of season 4.3 when Jim is literally pushing his teammate round to save fuel. Insane teamwork from Jim, and I hope that this race comes good for Jim and he can get himself on that podium. He certainly deserves it. Jim out there with, he's got Mercury and Binkit right with him, and it's Binkit there. Mercury with the least fuel of anybody in this group. 33 minutes 33 to go as stamping down on the brakes into turn one. Who will emerge out front? Well, Mercury's going very brave here. He's already had an accident in turn one and he's gone right round the outside. Jim is trying to just get the tail ahead before they get into the braking zone of the International Horseshoe, the first of the two hairpins, and he did a great job actually. Vic says I'll stop talking. Okay. Sorry, Vic. But I have to just push blame away from myself when it comes to people being cursed. Binkit and Astonishing still running together, and it's a very difficult thing to run so close with your teammate so much of a race. White wheels on the Pan Am car for Mercury. So Pan Am, definitely how the team are being represented. Izzy was driving a ITA Airways car. In the GTD Pro or GT3 cars earlier on, but the other three drivers have gone for Pan Am this time round. That's Mercury just chasing Jim here, just trying to borrow the air that Jim is parting here, and perhaps not needing to go for a run. Jim just holding firm on the middle of the racetrack, and he has every right to do that. It just prevents anybody from having a clear and obvious run through the bus stop on either side of him, and he can then easily defend as they close out. You can see Mercury already low on fuel. It's lap 14. He's going to run out before the target lap of lap 16. In fact, Roy Daddenson has gone in on 1 litre of fuel in the Aston, so clearly Mercury and the Aston Martin V12 is a lot thirstier than the other cars out there, and that will stop them being able to do. There's no way. Well, maybe they can get another tank of fuel home, but then the required tyre is going to be the medium, so that's even harder. Shiesty leads by 19 seconds from Jim now that we've had a couple pit stops there. But what a lead for Shiesty. What a debut so far. And Jim in P2. We've got Binkit and Astonishing running those Carambar Sugar Rush Racing Peugeot RCZs in 3rd and 4th position currently, but of course we're waiting for various pit stops to take effect. The Nissan Silvia, the only Nissan Silvia of Team Liquid Death, is Siam in the matte grey, and then we've got the Team Big Oil colour scheme here for Arcane with slightly clashing yellows, I've got to say, Arcane. So I don't know if that was deliberate, but the Pennzoil is a slightly less green yellow, if that makes sense, but certainly under these lights anyway. Slug is 7th. Sully is running in 8th, really struggling. I think he's gone a lap too long by the look of the fuel there, and the tyres are complaining. Roy Mustang Dad and Son has put the medium tyres on and a full tank of fuel. Now he'll try and just limp along here because there's no point pushing hard at this stage of the race. Just turn the engine down, try not to lose a position, I suppose, but most everybody else is going to be pitting, and you've got Guros Kai near the back, but K2 and Mercury are right there as well. K2 putting the hard tyres on. He used the softs at the start of the race. He can't make the race. Shiesty comes in though, lap 15, end of lap 15, start of lap 16. That's a bit early, I fear for him. I wonder what Jim will do. Another pitter as the Peugeots have played a blind up and are running in the slipstream of other drivers. Well, I say that, but Binkit's gone into the pit lane. So Astonishing takes the lead of the race on the exact halfway point of our race. and he is going to probably run to the end of this lap 16. But he's really protected the fuel very well indeed, and kept himself at the front of the grid. So congrats to him to this point so far. Arcane likewise has protected the fuel usage in the front wheel drive, front engined VW Scirocco. Small sponsorship there from Emirates, so we're well represented by oil and airlines. Not exactly the environmentalist's choice here. Dad and Son in P4, and Kuros Kai in 5th place. Dad and Son there on the new, having stopped. He's the lead driver to have pitted, I believe. No, scratch that. It's Shiesty, who's still just 2.2 seconds ahead of Dad and Son. So he hasn't run a safety car period with us before, so I don't know if he will be familiar with how this works and what we do. But the safety car will come out for 2 complete laps. We will get a good livery inspection of everybody's cars during that period. And while we do that, you can let me know who your favourites are. We're coming to the pit lane closure point, which will be during lap 17. Pit lane will be closed. Chaotic awaits in the all-new M2 safety car colours. Sorry, the M4. It's written right there, Webbo. The M4. And you've got to. I'm going to ask a question here about American English. Why do you say coupe when you don't have a problem saying buffet and ballet? Why do you say coupe instead of coupe? It's a French word with an accent on it. Discuss. So, Shiesty will go through and overtake Astonishing and Arcane, who have definitely hit the target lap here on the hard tyres and the full tanks of fuel. Astonishing ahead of Arcane. They'll go in. It sounds more masculine for some reason, and we drive trucks into the city, says them. Nice, okay. I don't think I always bump on coupe. I don't know why, but there you go. You've got no problem saying other French words that have an accent on the end. You don't call it a buffet or a ballet. It's K2 in P3 and Jim in P4. We have Mercury in 5th and Binkit currently in 6th place. Astonishing, just coming out of the pits there on the medium tyres. All side by side here with Mercury. My apologies. It looks like my my game console, I won't name it, just thought I was speaking to it for a minute there. So something I said earlier meant that they picked that one up. But thanks then all the same. Shiesty leads us on this lap 17. We wait for the safety car, who will have his tyres changed for no reason whatsoever, and he's let's see if he can drive it a little bit better than our previous safety car driver, who struggled into turn 1 at the start of the race. We have got Shiesty leading, Dad and Son here, and they'll be relatively full throttle, although I imagine they've turned the engines down on this lap. And as I said before, if there's a gap behind you, there's really no need to use fuel at this point, unless you've committed to a 2-stop like K2 will have. K2 is on the hard tyres. I would imagine that he will switch to the mediums as soon as he feels like they're a viable run on an aggressive, hard racing run to the finish here. He may even do it now. I don't like after the safety car immediately. Give himself the most opportunity, the most time to get through. Let's see if our safety car. He has exited. He hasn't picked up a penalty, and here we come as there's a car parked on the racetrack, and Shiesty will pick up that safety car right there with his lights in a very obvious place, and that works. Now, obviously, everybody will know that Kizel Bash Fitness, that's an unusual business name there for Shiesty, but yeah, everyone will know from my racing logo that I enjoy the Gulf colour scheme no end. Purple saying, is this a league? This is very much a league. This is Deviant Racing Purple. And then we have the Pan Am colour scheme for Team Jetstream Racing. There's the Webbo com sticker on the back quarter panel. Thank you for that. Back quarter window, I should say. Fly Pan Am all over the car, which is gorgeous. Jim with the stickers aplenty. And again, a nice Webbo sticker on there, but a slightly more sticker heavy and slightly more scarred and bumped and dented Porsche Cayman GT4 here for Legend Motorsports. That we've got lots of Gulf colours on the grid, and we've just been looking at a slightly cleaner looking Aston Martin Pan Am colour scheme there earlier on. The Carram bar for Team Sugar Rush Racing. They've even made their own logo on the hood there. I love that. Nice one, guys. I love it. Well done. And a candy bar, chocolate bar graphic on the top on the roof. Looks awesome. And Rizaldi says looking good so far. LMR. Rizaldi, elaborate please. Tell me more, because I've just seen LMR on Comacopa's car repping here, and I'm not familiar with that scheme. So here we have Team Big Oil's Pennzoil livery. No visible Webbo sticker, I'm afraid. We've got Ferodo on the roof, and a slightly clashing yellow to the Pennzoil livery. Team Liquid Death in the Nissan. Very cool number of stickers there on the side window as well. Look at that, down by the mandatory number 78. That is every sticker in the box, which I always love to see drivers chucking. It's a very JDM way of going about decorating your car, so I do enjoy that no end. Team Enzo Motorsports have all gone for the familiar tobacco sponsored colour scheme, pattern of the chevrons and the sort of that shape that we see. It says Michelin, but I believe all the tyres are mandatory now Dunlops on the cars, thanks to Dunlop signing a deal with Polyphony Digital. Then we have our Team Perfect Pace. I don't know quite why they've gone for the Old Glory and the Eagles everywhere this race specifically. There you can see just down at the bottom near the front wheel arch, that's the Pennzoil Webbo com sticker I was talking about before. So thank you for that. And they have they've added lots of graphics. I don't know if that is specific to what is happening in the US right now and they want to show their patronage. I don't know if that's because they are racing at Daytona and it's all about America. Then we've got the Team Big Oil's Gulf sponsorship, so the third blue and orange race car we have on the track today, and that is Kuros Kai's Big Oil Gulf scheme. Love the way they've done this. There's a Nürburgring sticker on the car as well. I don't think we're going to the Nürburgring this season. We've just had the Nürburgring race in season 4.3, and I wouldn't be in a rush to go back. Not that it was a bad race, but I just don't like it very much. Kirk Morris says ours look better. Oof, ouch. So there's a little bit of rivalry there with the team. I don't know if that's across the team, is it? For the Enzo Motorsports team, you're sort of ragging on your GT4 drivers, and the safety car's got a decent lead right now over the rest of the field. The lights can't be turned off. The hazard lights, the blinkers, could be turned off, although I'm not sure they function on a BMW for obvious reasons. But they can be turned off if you want them to be. But the instruction at the moment is that the safety car will honk its horn a couple times. Some slightly odd stickers going on there on this side of the car. I think they've missed the mandatory sticker going over the 86. They put the 49 on, but they haven't put the Deviant green on the side of the car. It doesn't really go, the blue and orange, but it's mandatory nonetheless, so we'll allow that anyway. For now, I'm sure they'll be asked to repair that particular fault, but Shiesty, brand new to the league, can't fault him on that one, and certainly can't fault his driving. We're going to go to a 20-minute sprint here at the end of our race. I hope you're looking forward to the end. Let's see what they need to catch up, says Kirk Morris. I presume that means to the safety car rather than your colleagues at Enzo Motorsport. But I do like the fact that you've gone for all different different colours of that scheme. I don't necessarily approve of advertising for that type of product, but there you go. It's okay because it is iconic. You could use a different word beginning with M over the top of it if you wanted to. 19 minutes to go then before we get underway for the racing. We'll probably... There's the horn. I'm just about to say we might hear the horn, and we just did. Team Big Oil. I would have put Sunoco on the car this race. But there you go. It's green flag then. The leader of the race gets to choose when they go. There is a big gap between the top two and Jim there in third. Jim should have closed that gap up, really, and now he's going to be looking in the mirrors at Mercury. And astonishing that the three cars locked in battle together here. Mercury has had difficulty getting into turn one safely, and he's hung out to dry on the outside. There won't be much grip out there. That's going to allow Astonishing to have a look down the inside through this left-right and in down towards our horseshoe hairpin, as we tend to call it. So yes, you were talking about that, says K Morris. Absolutely. Your internet seems a-okay right now, unless you're on 4G, 5G. But sadly, K Morris with disconnection in his race. As the drivers go on the way into the second horseshoe. You can see the dew all over the grass. I love that as we get towards the daybreak here. That wasn't there earlier, that moisture on the grass, so very cool effects. Siam has been hovering around the middle point of the race the entire length of this hour endurance. K2 is in 9th. He did pit just after or on the safety car, so K2 giving himself a clear run here to the flag with a full tank of fuel as well, so he can push the engine, if not the tyres, to the end. Slug's in 10th, Kuroshi's in 12th, Chaotica, we've got Kurosaki and Sully, going by Chaotica there as we run through. Very nice close up to the, got a call on it, killed your data, says Morris. Wow, that sucks. That really sucks. Why would anybody call you during the race? Why would you let them? Why would you give anyone your number, Morris? It's Shiesty ahead of Dad and Son here. They're pushing each other like crazy, and it looks like Mercury has got a lot of attention now. He was challenging Jim on the lap prior. He's now got the Carabao and the Big Oil coming down the inside. Mercury is in a very tricky position here, as that is Arcane scorching into 4th position. What an overtake that was for Arcane as he runs through. Let's have a look at that again. Look at this. Arcane getting a twofer as he goes across the line. The rearmost of those three, but nabbing the inside line as the cars in front managed to squabble over the position. And Arcane, sweet as you like, down into turn one. Very, very neat overtake from him. And it is fantastic racing. I fully agree with you, Morris, as they run through. Look at the state of that Aston Martin and Mercury. Hopefully it will have cooled down a bit through the safety car period, but I imagine not feeling particularly happy about the state of the race so far for him. As this is Siam in the Liquid Death Nissan Silvia race car. Zen enjoying that one from Arcane. I bet, Zen, nice of you to praise a driver from a different team, so I appreciate that. We have a lot of partisan support here at Deviant Racing, especially in the GTD, because the GTD Pro drivers tend to watch because they've just finished their race. Jim is fully defensive here heading into the bus stop. Look at this awesome racing here at Deviant from everybody as they run through the bus stop. Looks like K2 has got a penalty here. He'll just duck out of the throttle for half a second, but the gap will open up to over a second, I would have thought, by the time they get down to the start-finish rate. Look at this, he's 0.06 of a second away. He might even make the overtake here on Siam, and then he'll suddenly slow. You can see the front of the car dipping down, and then the gap will open up considerably. This is Mercury, this is Jim. It is there's a lot of contact going on into the corner as they try to find their ideal braking zone. Mercury losing out. Arcane going very, very wide. The Peugeot RCZ of Astonishing cutting back beautifully down the inside. What a sequence from these drivers. What a great racing lap that was, as we'll perhaps join one of our drivers on board here. Check out the Carambar here as he just follows Jim neat and tidy. Arcane made that move stick earlier on, but in defense it didn't work. And fabulous overtaking there. Mercury reluctant to go for the inside line into the next corner. But we shall see. He did, in the end, get Arcane. So Arcane has gone from taking 2 places to losing 2 places in the course of 2 laps. Insane. Purple GT says, where does one find this league? Grid Finder? I'm not sure about Grid Finder, but I have put the YouTube link in the title of this video and the Discord link in the description today. So I think it's in the description of the video already, but if not, it'll be via the link in the title of today's video as well. But Deviant Racing League is what you're looking for. It's a lot of fun. Round the outside of Jim goes Astonishing as they are so close to one another. Look at this. Fabulous racing from both of them. It's just braking in front of Jim. Jim has been a master of bus stop entries today, and Astonishing had to draw from all of his experience and skill set to make that overtake. Fabulous run from Astonishing. I've got to watch that one again. Look at this. It is absolutely marginal as he stamps on the brakes as late as he dares, dances the car through, skating the track limits there on the exit, and another really, really cool overtake from him. It's also getting tasty at the front of our race as Dad and son Roy is closing in on Shiesty, who's only really got to think about bottling this one because he's well in the lead, but it's 1.5 seconds away as Astonishing gains a little bit of time on the following field. That's a big sideways moment there from this Chevy as he comes through. I think that's K2 just catching back this group. K2 has had incredible pace today, but not the most ideal strategy and a very difficult first lap. But he's been very quick and he's making his debut. And but for one bit of contact with an admin, which may not go down particularly well post-race. K2. Oh, that's contact between the big oils, Pennzoil car of Arcane into the side of Siam, and Siam's round. That is really bad in the way that that's worked out for Siam, I'm sorry to say. Let's just look at Siam's perspective as he comes down in towards the first of the horseshoes, and Arcane just outbraking himself. That's cold, dirty tyres, and then Siam kind of steering into a car who should have let him through. But a spin, a neat little 360 from Siam all the same, and we'll see if he can regain. But it's only 11 minutes left on the clock as we continue. Lena says hi to Lena. Nice to have you back with us. It's been a long time waiting for Deviant to restart here on season 5.1. But I'm sure everyone's very glad to have them back on their screens. Jim in P4, still trying to get that podium, but Astonishing with a magical overtake. It does look like Jim is having to do an awful lot of protecting of his position today, and he's protecting so hard that I've got a feeling that Bink is going to get by Mercury on the outside. Mercury's trying to tuck in, trying to bump draft to try and protect his own position and be in a place to fight with Jim. And that is working right now. Mercury certainly able to trust Jim, and likewise I think vice versa there for both of them. But just a question mark now as to whether they both get in each other's way and Binkit finds his way through or not. You can see the leaders there nicely spread apart, but the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th positions. K2 gets into it a little bit there, possibly a bit late on the brakes, possibly, and I think a little bit of contact with his teammate Sully as they come through the corners. Let's see, this is K2. And I wonder if it's one of those situations where you're trying to avoid contact. Oh, that was very, very late on the brakes. Actually tags Mercury for the second time today. Gets a little bit of contact for his trouble, and then a really difficult job and a good save in the end to hold it. K2 though, a little bit wild, so we'll have to try and tame K2's ambition somewhat but there's no doubting the driver's pace. That is very wide. You might get a penalty for going outside of track limits there and tagging the wall. Barrier is not your friend here in GT7. And then the rest of the field, CM Slug, Arcane, and Kuros Kai, who, let's be fair, struggling on this race so far. Our safety car driver has actually stayed put as Shiesty leads Daddenson, and astonishing. And then Jim is fighting for his life. I'm sure he's enjoying this. I'm sure he's loving every minute. But it's got to be incredibly stressful on board that Porsche for Jim, as he has been trying to stick to his own pace, not overdrive the car, and protect these positions. Binkett's dropped back slightly from this battle between Mercury and Jim. And you notice now that Mercury is not bump drafting Jim. He's actually challenging Jim, who stays low, and we'll see if Jim can hang on here. He's got the slightly favoured braking position. You get down onto the flat asphalt a little bit earlier. Mercury round the outside. Can he hold on? Oh, that was a great one. That was perfect. Absolutely beautiful from Mercury, just like we saw Arcane do earlier. But check this one out. This is millimetres. 16ths of inches away from disaster here, as Mercury goes right around the outside, all the marbles and the dirt out there, but he takes the position. Great move from him, and up to P4 from Mercury. We have seen some fabulous racing and some great overtakes today, and that is one of the finest. So Mercury, he's been battered around today, but he's still pushing very, very hard. We've got Binkett in P6 in the rearmost Peugeot RCZ for Team Sugar Rush Racing, and Sully and K2 now next to each other again as they run down these Chevys at Daytona. The fans will be very, very pleased to see them fighting hard throughout the race. Jim now protecting 5th, as he has protected 4th all race long. So Jim, a slow move backwards, unfortunately, through the race. He's very good into this bus stop, Jim. But unfortunately, that Porsche seems to be lacking a little bit in top speed. He might now get a toe on the back of the Aston Martin. I think that's what's happening right now. Is anybody likely to be marginal on fuel, I wonder? It looks like Daddenson has the least fuel among the group. Jim stopped a little bit later, I think, than him. No surprise to see the Peugeot's one of the best cars on fuel econ. Second probably to the VW. And this is Jim on the low side in the Porsche, just hanging on here. Binkett trying that move around the outside. Look at Jim right leaning on the right hand side of his car as Sully and K2 continue. How are their fuel economy? Well, K2 stopped last of everybody after using the soft tyres at the start of the race. Oh, we've got some more battles here. Arcane's still in the thick of it, fighting with Slug in front in the Enzo Motorsports Ferrari 458, and behind him the Nissan Silvia with the big fat JDM body kit on it. This is a crazy field here of GT4 cars. We do have some of the very best, widest range of racing in GT4, I think. Behind them, we've got Kuroskai in P12, but not out of it. Just about 26 seconds away from the lead of the race, and he has half a tank left of fuel as well. The lead is 3.9 seconds. Astonishing is catching and has almost caught and passed Daddenson, who's been hanging on to that second position. I think Daddenson is protecting the fuel here. Might be down to fuel mix 2 or 3 even to get this car home in the final 5 minutes. It looks like he's got enough fuel on board, but that final quarter of a tank disappears very quickly. So he's going to be worried and stressed, I think, about whether he can make this. We're on board with Astonishing, and we're just biding our time here. Astonishing's got to believe he can get Daddenson and get a second position at least for Team Sugar Rush Racing. As we get back to flat. If you're in VR, this is one of those races where the angle of the banking really starts to wear on your neck after a while, because the angle doesn't straighten up like you would naturally with your head, it automatically tilts with the car. Oh, that's wide. That's incredibly wide from Jim, I'm sorry to say. And Astonishing goes through. Jim pressured into a mistake. I'm not going to call that an unforced error, because that's absolutely something that Astonishing was working on and banking on and pressurizing and waiting for. But Daddenson there slipping back then to P3. But I think he might be protecting his fuel and his tyres at this stage. It is still anybody's game in the midfield there. Mercury has got a small gap, a comfort gap ahead of Binkit now, who's got ahead of Jim. And behind them, K2 has retaken Sully, and it's K2 coming in and at it and fighting hard now. So I must just clarify, my comments about Brazilian drivers earlier was about the fact that we tend to get a lot of lag from Brazil. Look at that, outside to inside, leave a gap, leave a safety gap. Jim, sadly, from 3rd place down to 7th now in the Porsche. He's drove a sensible and calm race, but unfortunately other drivers and car combinations have just had the edge on him today. Lap 27, 3 minutes to go. We're hovering around the 2-minute lap mark as we cross the line. Binkit still with his Dias de los Muertes similar livery on his helmet there as they head down into the bus stop, and Sully the next one to queue up to pass Jim, because K2 made his way through, and round the outside of Slug goes Arcane, but that is an illegal position on the track. Expect to see a penalty arrive on top of the VW, but he's already had to cede position and probably just hopped off the throttle there, because the penalty hasn't come on at all. So just playing it as sensible as possible. Another driver who has fallen backwards throughout the latter part of this race is Siam, down to 11th place here at the moment, and Kuroskai has fuel aplenty, but he hasn't got much left on his front left tyre to finish us out. Shiesty leads by 4.9 seconds with what will be just about a lap and 2/3 left to go, I think, as Astonishing is 1.5 seconds ahead of Daddenson, who's just going to hang on to the podium here. Should be a great result for the Aston Martin Jetstream Racing team to get 3rd and 4th places. You'll take that any day if it's offered to you pre-race. So Mercury in 4th, K2 here in 5th place. Might still have something to say about Mercury's 4th place, and I'm kind of excited, scared to see K2 approaching Mercury. I don't know if Mercury will know it's the same Chevy that's hit him twice at least that we've seen on stream so far, and I'm getting K2 into an unacceptable amount of trouble right now. But that is all facts that I'm saying. Sully's in 8th, Slug is in 9th, Arcane is in 10th with Siam and Kuroskai, as we've mentioned moments ago. But Shiesty is looking like this is absolutely his playground. Daddenson and Mercury 3rd and 4th positions, and it's opening out a little bit here in the midfield just outside the podium, but Binkit will still be thinking that 4th place is achievable. I feel fairly certain. So Binkit down in 6th, I think will still feel like he might be able to do this. He's got the least amount of fuel, but no one is running out of fuel before the end of this race, as far as I can see. It may even be the final lap for a couple of drivers right at the back of the grid, but it will be the white flag flown right now for all of this lead half of the race. Let's just see if anybody is so far back that they won't make it. I don't think so. I think everybody is a-okay. It's possible Kuroskai won't get home before the 23 seconds have elapsed, or maybe 25, 26. GT7 being quite generous here. What a great view this is as we close out the race and back into the daytime, early morning view of the race here at the moment. Kuroskai did make it through, so everyone will finish on the lead lap, and this is the white flag final lap then as the clock goes dead. Shiesty leads 5.4 seconds from Astonishing, but K2 is right with Mercury here as they run through the West Horseshoe towards the in and out. That Chevy power is going to need taming on the way through the in and out, but he looks like he's got a plan here to try and get the slipstream. That is a great run out of the in and out. He'll try and duck down, stay underneath the Aston for as long as he possibly can. We'll perhaps try and see them into the bus stop here, because I think this will be the last major overtaking opportunity. Perhaps Mercury decides to cede and use the drag to the line, possibly, but Mercury defends the inside, doesn't overcommit to the inside as they hit the brakes momentarily. K2 round the outside, Mercury on the inside. That will reverse itself as they run through. K2 now owns the inside lane, and they'll go side by side. They still go side by side. It will be a drag race to the finish. Here comes Shiesty round the final turn. We'll just see where these two are, and it's Mercury picked up a penalty for going off track limits, so that is curtains for that run. Flashing the lights for Shiesty, making a winning debut at Daytona. What a race from Shiesty. Hats off to him, and astonishing coming through for a fabulous second place. Daddenson holding on. K2 crosses the line in fourth, just ahead of Binkit, making it a fifth place for Sugar Rush, and Mercury home in sixth place. We've got Sully in seventh, Jim in eighth, and closing up the end of the race, Slug versus Arcane. It's Slug who's going to get the nod ahead of Arcane, and Siam finishing with Kuros Kai picking up a 12th place at the end. Thanks to Chaotica, thanks to everybody that has watched. We'll show you the final standings before we depart, but Shiesty is the winner today, and congrats to him. What a wonderful run for him. Shiesty astonishing, and Daddenson finishing out the race on our podium here on our first race of the season. Season wise, we will be at 6 further locations this round before finishing us out. So over the course of the next 12-13 weeks, something like that. Here is your provisional result then. Shiesty finishing ahead of astonishing. Daddenson got the fastest lap of 57.8. K2 with a very tumultuous but very quick debut with us as well in P4. I can see K2 and Shiesty really fighting hard over this one. Binkit, Mercury, Sully and Jim rounding out the top 8. We have Slug, Arcane and Siam. Kuros Kai finishing home in 12th place. We did have a disconnection for K Morris, sadly, and Chaotica drove the safety car today, the M4. Shiesty, though, your winner ahead of Astonishing and Daddenson. Thanks, everybody, so much for watching. Just a reminder here of the calendar coming up, and a reminder that the thanks button is open if you haven't been able to avail yourself of the super chat while we're live. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you all, and we will catch you on the next race day.